This is the Louie T Network.
Man, I love some football. Man, I love some football. My favorite week is week 1, cause I'm watching football. First comes the preseason, and I don't take a day off. And then it gets even better when your team makes the playoffs. 32 teams go hard for one thing. They work for one thing. That Super Bowl ring. 32 teams go hard for one thing. They work for one thing. That Super Bowl ring. We in the lab room.
Louie T, welcome. You are in the lab room. Of course, I'm your host, Lou. Thank you for joining me. Week number 15 in the National Football League. Wow. Wednesday edition of In the Lab Room. Week 15. You know what that means. We're getting towards the end of the regular season. And for a football fan like myself, if your team is in the playoff hunt, then this is a great time for you. I mean, you're not even thinking about the end of the season. You're just thinking about how great it is to be playing competitive and meaningful football in December. For the rest of us, whose team is not in the playoff chase, this is the worst time of the year because you realize it's almost over. I mean, whether your team is 1-10 at this, 1-11, 1-12 at this point, whether your team is 2-13 at this point, 2-11, whatever the case may be, it doesn't really matter. You know your team is running out of games. You won't be able to see your team perform for 6 months. And for the rest of us who are just football fans, look, I'm a football fan first. So whether my Skins are doing great or not, I'm going to watch football regardless. For me, it's still bittersweet because, again, once this season is over, once there's no more NFL tackle professional football, what am I to do, man? I mean, yeah, there's NBA, yeah, there's other things that's going to occupy my time, but nothing tickles my fancy like the National Football League. So it's a tough time, but look, I don't want to be the bearer of bad news. I'm not going to sit here and dwell on what's to come. Let's just enjoy it while it's here. Let's enjoy the ride, okay? Week 15, Wednesday edition of In the Lab Room. You know what that means. We've got Soul Survivor. We've got PDS on the horizon. Let's jump into the Soul Survivor for week number 15. You know how this goes. It's fast-paced. It's in your face. It's the Soul Survivor in week number 15 in the National Football League, giving you a winner to get you to week 16. It's the Soul Survivor here in the Lab Room. So, off we go. Starting with Thursday Night Football, Arizona Cardinals at the St. Louis Rams. A lot of family business taking place in week number 15. As we get to the later stages of the season, family business is commonplace, and you will find that this schedule, this slate of games is littered with family business. So you already know what that means. So this is going to be extremely quick. Thursday Night Football, Arizona, St. Louis. Family business. If these two teams said they ain't did it, then they ain't did it. But if they did, well, that's family business. I'm going to Sunday. Pittsburgh at Atlanta. I won't touch this one at all. Here's why. Atlanta fighting for a postseason spot. Did you see the way they played on Monday Night Football against Green Bay? That was impressive. They gave themselves a chance to win that game. I'm not messing with Atlanta. I don't know if Julio Jones is playing or not. I talked about Pittsburgh all this season, about their inability to rise above mediocre competition. They're probably going to make this a close game, allow Atlanta to hang in, maybe even beat them in this game. I'm not touching this one. Move on to the next game. Green Bay at Buffalo. Trap game for the Green Bay Packers here. This is a trap game if I've ever seen one. You don't want any part of Buffalo at home late in the season. I mean, the Packers, they're not opposed to playing in cold weather. They play in it all the time. They play in Lambeau. They're at home in the cold weather and the elements. That's not a problem. The problem is Buffalo plays defense. Ask Peyton Manning last week how tough it was to get anything going in the passing game against this Bills unit. These guys turn you over. They make things happen. They don't do a lot on the offensive end, which is why they'll probably lose this game. But again, I'm not going to sit here and tell you why they're going to win or lose. I'm just going to tell you that this is a trap game, and I'm not going to fall into the trap. Next game, Cleveland at home versus Cincinnati. Family business, need I say more. Minnesota at Detroit, more family business. You go on to the next game, Houston at Indy. Do you see a theme here? Family business, come on, man. Oakland at Kansas City. The last time these two teams played, what happened? Family business. You go on to the next game, Miami at New England. Last time these two teams played, what happened? Family business. You go on to the next game, Giants at home versus Washington. The last time these two teams played, what happened? An ass whooping. And guess what that was? Family business. I'm moving on. Next game on the docket, Tampa Bay at Carolina. What happened the last time these two teams played? Derek Anderson started. Carolina won. What's about to happen? Derek Anderson about to start. Carolina probably gonna win, but it's family business. I'm moving on. And this is where you find Jacksonville at Baltimore. How does that sound to you? I know what that sounds like to me. Ding, 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 ding. This is your Soul Survivor for week number 15. You need not go any further than this game right here. I mean, come on, seriously. Baltimore in the dead heat of a postseason chase. They're looking to get in, back door, front door, it doesn't matter. They want to win the division, they want to win a wild card. They don't care how they get in, they just want in. Jacksonville? Really? That's who's going to try to stop them from doing that? I told you, I trust Baltimore in just about every circumstance there is. You put these guys in any situation, and the Ravens understand what it's going to take to get themselves out of that situation with a W. And I know the rest of the teams chasing down a wild card berth or a divisional crown are saying to themselves, if you're Pittsburgh, Cleveland, Cincinnati, Kansas City, or Miami, one of these teams, looking around trying to get in the postseason, whether it's in their division trying to win the division or a wild card, they're saying, really? If you're Pittsburgh, we gotta play Atlanta, you gotta play Jacksonville? Like, how? That's not even fair. Look, it's not my fault. If I'm Baltimore, it's not my fault. You used up your Jacksonville Jaguars get out of jail free card already, okay? I haven't used mine yet, so excuse me for using mine at the proper time. So if you're Baltimore, you're like, man, gotta take advantage of this. This is probably gonna be as easy as it's gonna get at the later portion of our schedule. And there are no easy pushovers in this league. You gotta show up, you gotta take care of business and execute to win. But Baltimore's gonna win this game. Trust and believe. They're not like Cleveland, who allowed Jacksonville to beat them. They're not like Pittsburgh, who allowed this Jaguars team to hang around and almost steal one from them. They're not like Cincinnati, who allowed Jacksonville to come into the jungle and scare them half to death. Baltimore's gonna beat the brakes off these boys. This is your Soul Survivor for week number 15. Trust me, Baltimore's gonna take care of business. This is the game that's gonna get you to week 16, but just in case you don't trust me, which you should at this point. I've been letting you down all year. I had that one time. Okay, the one time. Besides that, when have I let you down? I don't. That's because I don't. So, we'll go through the rest of these games just so you know there's not a better option. And then we'll come back where we always come back to square one, which is what I always do. Tell you that there's not a better option, and you agree, and then we move on. So, let's keep going. Jets at Tennessee. This is ugly. I mean, you're talking about two two-win teams. Somebody's going to win their third game of the season. And what do I always say? Never trust a sub-500 team to do anything. Move on. Denver at San Diego. More family business. You know how it goes. When family members get together, all bets are off. And so am I. Next game. San Francisco at Seattle. Look, 49ers look bad. They look really bad. Seattle playing good, damn good. This seems like an easy fix here, but it's family business. You know what that means, man. Don't ignore it. It means something. It means I'm moving on to the next game. Dallas at Philly. More family business. This is for the division lead. No. And finally, Monday Night Football. Saints at Chicago. Really? You really gonna ask me to pick between two 5-win teams, neither of which has done anything to garner any trust this season from me, from Mark, Louie T? Heck no. This is absolutely a no-go. And that takes us back to square number one. Baltimore at home versus the Jacksonville Jaguars. Come on. You already know. You already know. That's your best bet, man. Take it, run with it, cash it at the bank, and it'll get you to week 16. The Baltimore Ravens at home taking care of business versus the Jacksonville Jaguars is your survivor for week number 16, or excuse me, 15 in the National Football League. We'll take a quick break. We'll come back. We'll jump into PDX. Social media has taken off in ways that I couldn't have imagined. And thus, I've taken the liberty to start being more active on social media. So like me on Facebook at In the Lab Room. Follow me on Twitter at In the Lab Room. You can also +1 me on Google Plus at Louie T. And also, of course, my main hub, subscribe to my channel on YouTube. That's youtube.com/In the Lab Room. These are all ways that I'm looking forward to interacting with you, the viewers, in the upcoming season of the Louie T Network. Welcome back to the program, to another edition, the Week 15 edition of Pats, Daps, and Snaps. This week, we're going to start with some Daps because there are a few people, there are a few teams that deserve to be dapped up for what they put on display in week number 14. You start with Julio Jones. That masterful performance he put forth versus the Green Bay Packers on Monday Night Football for the entire nation to watch and take in was absolutely breathtaking. That guy there, he's a monster. Love watching him play football because not only is he big, not only is he physical, not only is he fast, but the guy knows how to get it done. He knows how to run routes, how to set guys up, how to make things happen. This team was down by 17, and we know that's almost a death sentence against Green Bay in Lambeau. To be down that big normally means you're going to get blown out, and he single-handedly put the Falcons on his back. Get on my back. Come on. Get on. Those singles, number 11, them singles, he jumped up. He said, hey, I got you. Wherever you need to go, I'm going to take you there. Just get on my back. And he took these boys into a competitive contest. Over 200 yards receiving, couple of touchdowns. The dude was on fire. And they could not extinguish that fire, could the Green Bay Packers. If not for an injury, John Gruden said, hey, man, this dude might set the NFL record that is currently held by Flipper Anderson way back in the 80s for the most receiving yards in a game. I don't know if he would have approached that or broken that or whatever may have happened, but tell you this much. He was definitely on pace to do something great in that game. And for that, my man Julio gets that kind of dap that turns your hand red. You move on to the next dap. Man, this dude gets me excited. I'm talking about L.B. Le'Veon Bell, that young fella in Pittsburgh. Man, oh man. First of all, let me apologize to him one final time because I killed him Coming out of college, I killed the Steelers for drafting him, and I killed him because I said the Steelers are doing the same thing they always do. They're drafting the same type of back they always draft. They need speed, and he is not going to bring that to the table. He's not elusive. He's fat. He's a fat boy. I called him a fat boy. I said he's not going to come in and do anything that one of these other slow backs that you already have in your backfield, like a Mowell Moore or one of those guys like a Jonathan Dwyer, can't already do for you. What does he bring to the table? He's Jonathan Dwyer 2.0. That's what I called him. Man, was I wrong. And what he did was he rededicated himself to the game. And he said in the offseason, I've got to get into shape. I can't be that fat boy that Louie T called me. I can't be that dude. I got to cut weight. I got to get into shape. And I got to show these guys why the Steelers invested a high-round draft pick on me and gave me an opportunity to shine in this league. And so he's playing football, folks. I mean, these all-purpose yards that he's putting forth, I mean, I don't know what to tell you, man. Dude is catching it. I didn't know he could catch as well as he catches the football. I didn't know that. I didn't know that came with the Le'Veon Bell package. I knew he could run. I knew he was patient, but I didn't think he had any burst. I didn't think he had any agility. I knew he was patient from Michigan State. I knew he had the ability to run the football. But when you put those things in the package that he's put forth this season, the ability to not only have the patience to set up your blocks, but when that opening hits, to hit that hole with the speed of burst and aggression that few backs in this league have, to be able to stiff arm a guy, put him down on his butt, to be able to change directions, make guys miss, to be able to run routes out of the backfield, set linebackers up, set safeties up, separate from them, to do the things that he's done this year. You won't find, to me, right now, you won't find a better all-purpose back in the league than Le'Veon Bell. L.B. Rock the bells. Get that man some dap. He's holding it down for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Without L.B., Steelers aren't 8-5. Steelers aren't even a thought right now as far as the postseason is concerned. You look at the next dap, man, the Seattle Seahawks defense, and I love giving dap to those individuals, players, teams that deserve dap. I will dap. Look, I am an equal opportunity dapper. I will dap the same cats up every single week if they deserve it. And you know how, you see Peyton Manning and you see the greatness and you recognize greatness, but you don't acknowledge it the way that you should because you're so used to seeing it. You're accustomed to it. It's like, oh, Peyton just threw for 5 touchdowns. It's nothing. No. Acknowledge the fact that that man just tossed 5 touchdowns. It's hard to do that in this league. And so when he does it, you shouldn't say to yourself, oh, that's Peyton Manning. Oh, that's Peyton Manning. No. Acknowledge the greatness. And when the Seahawks do what they did on Sunday to the Philadelphia Eagles in their own crib and shut those boys down, I mean, literally went into their factory. And the Eagles had not lost at home all season. They stepped into the factory and took apart this Eagles offense systematically. I mean, they literally went scalpel, sponge, wrench, took them apart. They literally got all the tools they needed, went in, took those boys apart, and they didn't leave the parts behind. And they said, hey, here's your parts back. You can put them back together if you know how to. They took the parts with them. They put them in their pocket and they left. They went into Philadelphia, and we've been seeing them do this for the last month or so, where, Bobby Wagner back in the lineup, and all of a sudden they're rejuvenated. You saw it against San Francisco. You saw it against Arizona, but it was easy to dismiss those. I mean, not just because those were family business affairs, but because of the teams. Those teams don't score a lot of points. Arizona, since Carson Palmer, since earlier in the season, they haven't been scoring 30 points. They've been reduced to scoring 17 to win. So, I mean, San Francisco, we haven't been amazed at their scoring output since, week 1 against Dallas? I mean, they don't score any points. So, to hold those teams to 3 points really didn't move the needle much. And you just said, man, that looks good. They're getting back on track. But to go to Philadelphia and to do what they did to the Eagles, this high-flying offense, up-tempo, Chip Kelly calling all these plays and them running up and down the field and doing what they've done all year long, to go in there, shut those boys down, hold them to 14, and make them look very minuscule in the process. Keep in mind, if not for John Ryan's gaffe trying to punt the football and having the Eagles get great field position, they probably only scored 7 points in this game. So keep that in mind. This Seahawks defense was dominant, and man, oh man, was that a sight to see. If you're an NFC team in the playoff hunt, you're like, I don't want to see those boys coming to my house doing that to me. That's what got them the Super Bowl last year. And if they keep playing like that down the stretch, that's what's going to get them back to the Super Bowl again this year. Seattle Seahawks defense, that's what's up. You go on to, you know what? We're going to switch gears. We're going to go to a couple of Daps. Then we're going to smack some cats. Then we're going to come back to some Daps. Sound like a plan? Sounds like a plan to me. Let's go to some Pats, man, quickly. Atlanta Falcons, Monday Night Football, down 17, 24-7. Easily could have turned into another Green Bay Packers route at Lambeau Field. And so at that point, I thought that's exactly what was going to happen. I stopped taking notes. And really, I didn't expect much more from the Falcons in this game. And then they started chipping away, and they just wouldn't go away. And I thank the Falcons for making my Monday Night Football experience enjoyable and making me stick around to the very last second of this football game. Falcons, I have now turned my back on the New Orleans Saints, and I'm turning to you. And I am crowning you as the team that needs to make the playoffs from the NFC South. You are that team. Go get them, Atlanta. Pat yourself on the back. Baltimore Ravens, down 10-0 on the road to the Dolphins. Things look bleak. I mean, the entire first quarter was dominated by the Miami Dolphins. You're in their backyard. It does not look good. This Dolphins team seems to have learned from some of the late season struggles of a year ago. They're looking to take you down. And at 7-5, you can't afford to go down. And so what do? You get up. You rise up to the occasion, score 28 out of the next 31 points that scored in the game come from these Ravens, win the football game 28-13, and really put the playoff hopes of this Dolphins team on life support. They got to go to Foxborough next week. That could easily turn into another loss, drop them to 7-7. That's basically at the point of no return. You did that. You put them at the point now where their backs are against the wall. You went into their house and came out with a W after being down 10-0. For that, I say salute. And for that, I dap you up. You go on to the final, or excuse me, I pat you up. I pat you up. You don't get quite that for that, but I do pat you on your back for that. That was impressive. Great job. And finally, the last pat on the back, Jim Harbaugh. I think this guy deserves a pat on the back. And I don't like the way they're doing him in San Francisco. I don't like the way that Jed York is holding a little, sixth grade grudge. I don't like him. He has to go type of deal. Where were you before he got there? Huh? I can't hear you. What'd you say? Last place every year? Yeah, it sounds something like that. Yeah, I know. Where do you think you're going after he leaves? I'm not saying that you're going to go back to last place, maybe, but don't think you're going to be making NFC Championship games on the regular. I know that much. So look, I'm not going to sit here and have this conversation with 49ers fans or with their organization. I'm just here to tell you that if you're underestimating and you're not valuing what Jim Harbaugh did for this franchise, you'll find out. My grandma used to always tell me, those who don't hear, feel. I'm not going to say nothing else to these boys about what Jim Harbaugh meant to this franchise. I've listened to all the people tell me he's not a good coach. He's got all this talent. Okay, that's fine. All right? He's got all this stuff. Yeah, okay, right. Let's see what the next head coach does when he comes in. All right? Because I'm going to tell you what, you're going to miss. Grass isn't always green on the other side. And I'm going to tell you what, you're going to miss him. And you're going to miss him bad. And you're going to be longing for the days of Jim Harbaugh screaming feverishly on the sidelines to get a call, acting like a 6-year-old throwing a tantrum on the sideline because he can't get a timeout call. You're going to miss those days when you're 5-9 in week number 16 and you look up at the standings and you're like, how the hell did we get here? Yeah, you're going to miss Jim Harbaugh. And I'm going to be here to tell you, I told you so. But until then, the man is going to get work in this league. Doesn't want to go to college. Wants to stay in the NFL. Trust me, there are going to be several teams lined up with pen and pad in hand. What do you want? What is it going to take to get you here? What do you need? And he already said, I don't want a team to fork over $1 million draft picks to get me because I don't want to come into a situation where I don't have draft picks. So hopefully the 49ers realize what's going on here. They want to get rid of them, so they'll take whatever someone else is offering. They're not going to take, a 6th-round selection. They're going to want something worth having, but I don't see it being King's ransom like it was for John Gruden, back in the day when the Raiders traded like 2 first-round picks, or the Buccaneers traded like 2 first-round picks for him, or whatever it was. At the end of the day, Jim Harbaugh deserves probably some dap. But right now, because of how this whole thing has unfolded and losing to the Raiders, you about to get a new job. You move on to some smacks now. Let's jump to some smacks. And I want to smack some teams first off the bat, man. New Orleans Saints, what the hell was that? I mean, you're at home. You've already dusted this Carolina Panthers team off once this season. That was in Carolina. You come home and all of a sudden home isn't home anymore, man. What? I don't even know what to make of that. I don't even know. When I look at the Saints, I don't even know who I'm looking at anymore. Who are these guys? No, seriously. Who are you? I mean, just a legacy. Love don't live here anymore. Home ain't home no more, man. What happens when home don't love you no more? And they can't buy a win at home. They better off going on the road. Remember when the road used to be a problem for the Saints? Hell, they better go on the road and get one. They went to Pittsburgh and won like it wasn't nothing. You ask them to go home, though. Don't ask them to do that. Sean Payton went crazy. They cut Joe Morgan. He benched Kenny Vaccaro. He's a snap. Maybe that's what they need to light a fire on them. I don't know what the hell's going on with these boys. But 41-10 to a Panthers team that might have scored 41 points total in their last 3 games combined? 41-10? Really? Wow, man. That's rough. That's rough. And that's family business, too. I mean, you know better than that, New Orleans. Like I said, I don't know what's going on there. Sean Payton lit a fire in the air. I'm not Sean Payton. I don't talk. I'm a smash, man. This is pathetic, man. I don't even know those dudes, man. Jimmy Graham dropping footballs. I don't know these dudes, man. I don't know them. And I ain't even trying to know. I'm moving on. San Francisco 49ers, man. Whoa. Where they do that at? 24-13? When's the last time the Raiders actually got in victory formation and got to celebrate a win? Like, this game was over with like 6 minutes left in the 4th quarter. When's the last time the Raiders got a W like that? Where they didn't have to go down the field and kick a late game field goal, didn't have to stop somebody from trying to get in the end zone or get a field goal to win the game. When's the last time the Raiders got a comfortable W? And that's what they were able to do in this game. San Francisco has been pathetic offensively for the last 6 weeks or so, and it's just progressively getting worse. Is it me, or does anybody else see this? Is Cap getting worse? Is he regressing, or what? I mean, everybody talks about Robert Griffin III's regression. Is anybody seeing what I'm seeing? Are we just blaming this on Greg Roman? Because Greg Roman isn't airmailing passes 20 yards over guys' head. All right, Greg Roman isn't rolling out and throwing the football 30 yards to the other team's safety. Is it just me? Anybody? Nobody? Okay, I mean, it's fine. If you don't see what I see, it's fine. All I know is this isn't the way that Jim Harbaugh's tenure in San Francisco is supposed to end. This is this is troubling, and like I said, this is an omen of things to come. And I'm not used to doing this, so let me have a conversation with my hand for a second. I'll be right back. Look, I know this is the 49ers, okay? And I know you're not used to doing this, but they deserve this. No, they deserve this, okay? This has been coming for a while now, and I know it's going to hurt you more than it's going to hurt me, but you got to do this. You ready? San Francisco? Sorry. Had to do it. Tennessee Titans. Are they the most hopeless team in the league or what? I mean, there's some bad teams. There's some hopeless teams. The Redskins are pretty hopeless right now. Don't see a lot of things to cheer for those guys. I think those are the two worst teams. I mean, there's some bad teams around the league, but the Redskins and the Titans are pretty bad. And when I look at Tennessee, I'm like, you're really bad. At least there's not the same circus and drama there is in Washington where there's a new report out every week that something else is going on. At least they can stay clear of that. But, man, it's boring in Tennessee, man. Not actually in the state Tennessee. Can't speak. I don't live there. I haven't been there. I can't tell you anything about it. But the actual football team, the product that you get on the field from week to week, man, is it bad. Man, is it bad. 33-7 at the crib. Giants came in, manhandled those boys. I mean, put the screws to them. When I watch Tennessee, I gotta entertain myself because the game is no fun. So what I'm about to do is a little entertainment while I slap these guys. Remember Buff Bagwell? If you didn't watch wrestling, then you have no idea. But my man Buff Bagwell used to come and he used to do this little dance. He used to go, and then give you the little flex. Well, I'm going, Get out of here, Tennessee. Wow, you guys are bad. Speaking of bad, Washington Redskins, man. Bring those boys up here, man, front and center. These boys are trash. And this is an organizational failure. That shutout loss to St. Louis, that wasn't just on the offense. That wasn't on Colt McCoy. It wasn't just on the offensive line. That was a microcosm of this organization's failure to get it done over the last decade. And we've had one of these losses in all of our bad seasons. There's always one loss that sticks out like a sore thumb. You could point to that ass whooping we took on Thursday Night Football against the Giants. We chalked that up to Kirk Cousins just having a meltdown. You could look at, hell, that Tampa Bay loss was pretty damn bad. It was bad. But you could chalk that up to Robert Griffin III just not looking like a competent football player. This one here, this one's hard to figure out. I mean, you look around and you say, okay, it was the defense's fault. No, it wasn't. It was special teams' fault. Yeah, they were bad. But this isn't just on them. What about the offense? They were bad. Yeah, they were damn bad. They were terrible. But it's not just that. I mean, it's the reports that come out every week. Secret, sources and anonymous sources and a source close to the team. High-ranking officials. It's all of these sources that find their way to the media before every Sunday's game with this Redskins team. It's the back and forth between, is Jay Gruden going to get fired? Can Robert Griffin III resurrect his career? Can the two mesh together? Does one of them have to go at the end of the season? It's just too much. And your end result is a 24-0 blanking at the home. And you know what? I'm going to talk about St. Louis in a little while. But it was so disrespectful what St. Louis came in and did. I mean, they came around it like a dog. They just sniffed the territory. They said, oh, this is the Redskins territory. It don't matter. They still pulled their pants up and pissed all over our stadium and our fans, all on the football field. Pissed on the football, handed it to the ref, and let the Redskins play with this one. They just pissed all over our team, marked their territory all up in the crib, and we let them do it. Redskins, man, it's pathetic right now. And for that, you get a front head and a back head slap, man. Redskins is all bad right now. You go to some more. Let's lighten the mood right now and dap some cats up. St. Louis, I was just talking about the Rams. Let's continue with that. That was so disrespectful. You know how I feel about disrespect at the highest level, man. And that was, if not for your kicker having an off day, and I'm not going to sit here and rag on Young Jeezy because usually Young Jeezy is money. But he had a rough day, okay? If not for him struggling, this is in the 30s, potentially in the 40s. But nonetheless, Jeff Fisher started the day out with disrespect. This is when you know you are OG. when you go to somebody else's house and you bring out the 6 guys that you got in the Robert Griffin the third trade, you send them out for the coin toss. That's thug, is what that's thuggish disrespect. It's the thuggish, ruggish bone. That's thuggish, ruggish disrespect. I mean, if that ain't a big slap in the face, if that ain't a big F you, if that ain't Jeff Fisher flipping the bird at the Redskins organization, like, ha ha, he hit us with the Ralph laugh from The Simpsons. Ha ha, he laughing in our face. Not only did he disrespect us before the game, they disrespected us for 4 quarters. And then Jeff, after the game, they asked him about disrespecting us at the coin flip with the 6 dudes. Jeff said, hey, look, man, they got more pressing issues to worry about than us sending guys out there for the coin flip. So let them handle that on their own. So Jeff, not only did he slap us during the game, slap us at pregame, Jeff backhand us in the post-game presser. Look, man, the Rams came in our house and did whatever they wanted to do, man. They went, they raided the fridge, they blew up the bathroom, they peed all over the house, they didn't take their shoes off, they left tracks, both tracks, feet tracks, ass tracks, everything. It's all bad. Man, that kind of disrespect, it's hard to find, man. Good disrespect is hard to find these days. St. Louis! That's what's up. You move on to another team. Going in somebody's house and not knowing how to act, man. Pittsburgh Steelers. And for 3 quarters, Steelers were on their best behavior. They were sitting down, nice and quiet, man. Just minding their own business. I don't know what happened. 4th quarter happened. Steelers happened. In Cincinnati. And those boys just went off. And like I said, they were just Boy Scouts for 3 quarters. And then all of a sudden, these boys started acting a fool, man. They started drawing on the walls with paint. And this isn't your, washable paint. This is the paint that's not water soluble. This isn't going away. This is a stain. This is permanent, folks. Okay? They started marking territory around the house. Steelers was here with the WUZ, not WAS. I mean, they got really nasty in the house. I mean, I'm like, come on, really? Vomit in the corner over there? Could you at least clean it up? No, they went bananas in the house of the Cincinnati Bengals, and I'm just not used to seeing people operate that way in Cincinnati, but the Steelers did exactly that. I mean, it was bad. And again, normally when you do things like they did in 1 quarter, I've seen teams arrested for that kind of behavior. That's disorderly conduct. Teams from afar, like Cleveland was at home watching that carnage, from Cleveland, like, yo, Steelers are tripping. Maybe we should call the authorities. I mean, that looks pretty volatile and dangerous over there. Maybe we should call the authorities. That's how bad the Steelers acted up. Big Ten with a 94-yard touchdown. L.Bell getting frisky and nasty. Dusted those boys for 2 touchdowns in the final quarter. They had 17 at the end of 3 quarters. They ended up with 42 points. Enough said. Steelers, yes, sir. Finally, Carolina Panthers. Carolina, where thou art thou, Carolina? Where have you been? Last time I checked, you guys were struggling. All of a sudden you show up and you score 41 in New Orleans? Wow. Now, this one is bittersweet because after this performance, I was like, man, Cam looked damn good. Offense was efficient. Jonathan Stewart looked good when they got their brains trampled on against Minnesota. He looked good in that game. He followed it up with an even better performance in New Orleans. I was saying, man, the offense is starting to click. Don't know if defensively you're going to be able to do what you did in this game moving forward. But doesn't hurt that you play Tampa Bay the next week. But doesn't hurt that you play Atlanta the week thereafter. So you got a shot is what I was basically saying. But then Cam gets in the accident. Don't know what the status is there. I know he's not playing in week number 15, but you don't need him because remember, if memory serves me correct, last time you played the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, you didn't have Cam for that game either. And guess what? You won that game pretty easily too. So, and yeah, I know Tampa Bay tried to make a go of it at the end. Missed me with all that. It was domination until late in the game. And so, all I know is that what you did to New Orleans, in New Orleans, you got a man fired. You got Joe Morgan, his pink slip. You got Kenny Vaccaro demoted. You got Sean Payton scaring the bejesus out of people. Why, Carolina? Why did you do that? Why? Why was that necessary? We all family here. It's family business. Why you gotta go and do that, love, huh? Now why you gotta go and do that? Huh? That was mean. That was rude. It was unnecessary. It was uncalled for. Yes, it was all of those things. And I loved every second of it. Damn! That's the way to get those boys some work. They don't want to win at home? I'll win at your house for the both of us. We'll just keep the win at my house. Sounds good to me? 41-10. Disrespect. And I love it. And finally, we go to some smacks. Let's wrap this thing up quickly. Two people that deserve to be smacked. We start with C.O. Moore. He's part of what's right in Oakland. C.O. Moore, solid football player, part of the young movement in Oakland that's going to help this team turn some things around if they get the right man in charge. A lot of young, talented football players on that roster, but they still got a lot of holes to fill on that roster. However, at the same time, he's part of what's wrong in Oakland, if that makes any sense. Remember, he's the same clown that was 15 yards beyond the line of scrimmage, celebrating while Kansas City was about to snap the football. If not for Justin Tuck, that would have been an offsides penalty and a free snap for the Kansas City Chiefs. Who knows what happens after that. But he was forgiven for that. Then they win their second game of the season, and all of a sudden now, he's Mr. Tough Guy. He's taking to Instagram and posting pictures of Colin Kaepernick and calling him a little boy and I'm a man and, you know, all this nonsense. What are we doing here? You won 2 games. This is your second win of the season. What are you doing? Huh? Remember I had that talk about the Bears defensive end that came from Oakland, Lamar Houston. You remember that? Down 35, backup quarterback. He sacks him for the Patriots. He celebrates, celebration monster, bites him. He's done for the season, torn ACL. Remember that? Remember I said, you can take a player out of Oakland, you can't take the Oakland out of a player. C.O. Moore is one of those guys. Can't take the Oakland out of him no matter what the circumstance is. Second win of the season. That's it. You thinking this guy's going to be humbled after only your second win of the season. This dude is just, I don't know about C.O. Moore. I do know this. I just had to smack him just for being ignorant. Go sit down somewhere, man. Go sit down and stop talking. Finally, Brian Hoyer, Billy Ho. Billy Ho. Had a golden opportunity to seize that job in Cleveland, to be the guy. And he didn't know what to do with it. Yeah, I've watched this guy progressively get worse each and every single week. And me and my buddy have talked about his competition anxiety disorder that he has. And it's well documented. We saw it in the preseason when he was in a competition for the starting job. He struggled mightily. They went with the veteran presence. That's why he got the job. And once he realized it was his job, he settled in and led this team to a 6-3 start. Since then, he's struggled. And honestly, they shouldn't have won another game since then, but he got lucky that Atlanta's head coach Mike Smith is clueless in late game situations, and so they were able to steal one against Atlanta on the road. He's been tragically bad. Not okay, not subpar. He has been tragically bad over the last month of football, and thus he's been benched. And so goes the story of one Billy Ho. Brian Hoyer, it was fun. You're a free agent. Not gonna look good for you in the offseason. My man, take that smack. And so that's going to do it for the Wednesday edition of In the Lab Room. I thank you for joining me. What happens in the National Football League, whether big or small, we cover it all here in the Lab Room. Come back and join me as I continue to break down week number 15 in the National Football League. See you in a bit.